Hey folks, how we doing today? It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. Got a couple things to tell you before I throw this video up here. There is some things going on with the E word here in Texas, and there's a judge here in Fort Worth, Tarrant County, that 4 years ago or 6 years ago was doing some things that were probably allegedly inappropriate involving the whole, the thing. Well, a couple of years ago, there was a whole lot of information that come out on it, and just recently, a cop's shoulder cam footage that's 2 or 3 years old was now surfaced, and it's all on Gateway Pundit. I will leave a link in the description to that article below, and several other articles like that that just talk about how we need to make sure that these district court judges that have helped um, promote the process of the way they're trying to do things on the other side of the aisle. We got to get them suckers out of there. We got to expose them in every way possible. That's why I like leaving links to descriptions down below to some of these articles, not just because they can tell it better than me, but because you can actually get the full gist of the article and maybe even take the extra time to find out where they got their sources from, which is always a help with more information. I do want to say from now on, when there's just some stuff in the Gateway Pundit or Breitbart or somewhere OAN that I just want to bring y'all, whether it be a video or or an article or both, I'm going to leave them down in the links in the description below. So from now on, I'll be leaving quite a few links in the description below for those that watch my channel because you're curious as to what's going on with the whole E-word process. And that does matter to me, don't get me wrong. But being over here on CommieTube, I either have to refer y'all to my Rumble channel and do it over there, or I have to kind of tiptoe around the conversation here and put links in the description down below. Just want to let y'all know from this point forward, when I get a chance, I will try to throw it in the conversation that I got some good links down below for y'all. For those that are trying to keep up with the ins and the outs of every state, back and forth between the law and the unconstitutional crap they're pushing to try to sway these things, including the machines and the thing. I won't even get into it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Now here, a lot of y'all don't like Laura Ingraham because she's a Fox News correspondent and they refuse to cover certain things. And believe me, I get that. I like some of Fox's people, but I don't always like Fox's policies. And that's just it is what it is. But I don't cut them out of the loop as far as getting information from them because sometimes they are the first one to get a story. So if I cut them out, I'm cutting myself and y'all from being able to get the story first. So you got to kind of be I even like CNN sometimes, if that makes any sense to some people. You got to know your opposition as well as the weak conservatives, as well as the good news from over here on the fully right-wing conservative. There's actually three different type of medias out there as far as I'm concerned. Left-wing, right-wing, and something in the middle. I would say Fox is something in the middle. But at any rate, I want to get into this with y'all. This is pretty comical. This lady's, I think she's either high on drugs or drunk or something. I'm not sure. It ain't for me to call, to point the finger. Don't get me wrong, but she sounds either woke, crazy, or just messed up. Y'all tell me what you think. Now let me bounce out of here and I'll throw this video. I'll get this video rocking and rolling. Hope everybody's having a great day. And I'm going fishing tomorrow. And if everything goes right, and I'm not too busy catching fish, I will film a video or running down the river in a boat in the morning. Sounds like fun, right? I can't wait. Let's go ahead and get into this.
Hopefully, when they get to Washington, D.C., they'll be able to express that interest as well.
But, okay, I understand that point, Mayor. I'd like you,
our city,
with all due respect, Mayor, I'd like you to answer this question. Mayor,
what is the question, Laura?
My question is this.
I'm listening, Laura.
You are suffering in Baltimore, as many other metropolitan areas are as well. It's not unique to Baltimore, but nevertheless, you're suffering from declining enrollment. You're suffering from a huge budget deficit, while your office is adding
We're
20,
not suffering from a
20
huge
staffers.
budget deficit.
$130 million budget deficit for education in this fiscal year.
Yeah, well, that's not our entire city budget. So I thought you were talking about
your
the
schools.
city.
We're talking about you're funding buses in part to go down to Washington, and yet you have a budget deficit and you're laying off students.
Straight, love. I don't know whether you're trying to become the communications director for the Trump administration.
I don't know why you're getting personal, Mayor. I don't know why you're getting personal.
We're not funding. We are providing assistance to young people to make sure that they get to Washington, D.C. safely.
But why is that your job? Why is that your job as the mayor of Baltimore, to assist student activists? Are you doing that for the March for Life next January?
That's exactly the reason why I'm doing it, because I am the mayor of my city, because I care about my children. I want their voices to be heard, and we're going to make sure that their voices are heard in Washington, D.C.
Sorry to have to stop that thing for just a second, folks. I just wanted to hear that twice. Did this woman just say that she's helping support and fund the busing of activists to Washington, D.C., or as the Baltimore mayor? Now let's listen to that again, because I didn't mean to stop the video on you folks, but I just had to take a double take on what I just heard. Now tell me if I'm wrong here. I'm going to back it up and we're going to listen to it one more time. I hope nobody minds. Let's go ahead and do this. I'll jump out of here again.
As many other metropolitan areas are as well. It's not unique to Baltimore, but nevertheless, you're suffering from declining enrollment. You're suffering from a huge budget deficit, while your office is adding 20 staffers. We're not suffering from a huge budget deficit. $130 million budget deficit for education in this fiscal year.
Yeah, well, that's not our entire city budget. So I thought you were talking about
your
the
schools.
City.
We're talking about you're funding buses in part to go down to Washington. And yet you have a budget deficit and you're laying off students.
Straight, love. I don't know whether you're trying to become the communications director for the Trump administration.
I don't know why you're getting personal, Mayor. I don't know why you're getting personal.
We're not funding. We are providing assistance to young people to make sure that they get to Washington, D.C. safely.
But why is that your job? Why is that your job as the mayor of Baltimore, to assist student activists? Are you doing that for the March for Life next January?
That's exactly the reason why I'm doing it, because I am the mayor of my city, because I care about my children. I want their voices to be heard, and we're going to make sure that their voices are heard in Washington, D.C.
Have you done that for the March for Life, Mayor?
Very excited.
Have you done that for the pro-life march every January?
Actually, the pro-lifers didn't reach out to me. The young people
you would fund them next January?
In our country. The children of our city, of our country, reached out to me. They came down, and we offered to assist them so that they can get to Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you're not spending any money? So all the reports on the $100,000 is false?
Because we have too many assault weapons in this country. We have too many children being killed. We have too many people being killed in the streets of our city. So we're excited for them, and certainly grateful to you for
Mayor,
allowing us to be here this evening.
are you concerned about the fact that 13 of the 19 Baltimore high schools have 0 students today who are meeting grade level proficiency in math?
I am concerned about every single individual who lives in my city. I'm concerned about our schools. I'm concerned about the fear that exists among young people in this country, in my city.
Isn't that a bigger problem, though? Isn't that a bigger problem than training student activists?
There is no bigger problem than having people killed by assault weapons in this country. There's no bigger problem than parents who see young people being killed. There's no bigger problem than people's lives being lost because we have weapons of destruction on the streets of our cities, in our state, and in our country.
As the mayor of Baltimore,
and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. We want to make sure that this country understands that violence is not the way. Assault weapons should not be given to people, and background checks need to be done.
Okay, so Mayor, just so for our audience, I know you're doing a soliloquy, but Mayor, just so our audience understands, in the future, since you think this is important for students' voices to be heard, if conservative students
think
or
it's important
pro-life
for all
students,
of
can
our
I just
voices
finish
to
a
be
question,
heard.
please? If pro-life
Yes, dear.
students go to you and ask you to provide transportation or support for attending conservative marches because they want their voices heard, will you as mayor of Baltimore support those efforts as well in the education process or just for the student activism process?
Let's be real clear. If the private sector wants to provide buses for individuals to go protest anything in this country, they are willing to support that. Just like the NRA supports all of their issues,
so you're not spending any money?
young people to have their voices heard in this country.
Okay, so Mayor, are you saying tonight no money is being spent?
To be able to go. I'm saying that there'll be money spent to make sure that our young people get to Washington, D.C.
Okay,
safely.
so that's my question.
Absolutely.
Government money.
The buses
when you guys
free.
are bleeding teachers are being fired. Personnel are being laid off. You just hired 20 new people, including a new marketing director in your office, which is great. I'm sure they're going to do a great job. We're getting teachers laid off, personnel laid off, and you're shuttling students down to a rally. That just does not seem to make sense.
We hired 22 people to take care of the homeless on our streets. We hired people to take care of our neighborhoods and our communities. No, we did not. A public affairs director.
That story's wrong too. There's a lot of reporting apparently that's not true. You're not spending money to send kids down.
I think you would know about that.
You're not getting a marketing
all the time on television stations, on radio stations, and here on Fox
I think
TV.
it's so cool.
I came here so that I could share with you what's happening in Baltimore. We're very excited.
Baltimore has been under liberal leadership for how many years?
Washington, D.C., and we hope that you'll be there so that you can welcome them there and you can hear their voices because we believe that the voices of young people in this country
the problems in Baltimore have been going on for years and years and years under liberal leadership. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's not Donald Trump's fault that Baltimore has this high murder rate. Not Baltimore's fault.
I think you brought that issue up. I didn't bring up the issue of Donald Trump. I'm talking about Baltimore City and the need for our children whose voices want to be heard. We want
the kids would like to learn.
We want to make sure. We want to make sure that illegal
so the only thing you're
guns
teaching
aren't on
them
the
is
streets of our
protesting.
city. We want to make sure that assault weapons aren't on the streets of our city. We want to make sure that no more murders happen in any of our schools.
Needed, but we're going to send them down to protest.
Over 300 shootings in our schools.
Right, and that is the fault of the Maryland government. It's not the fault of the national government.
All these kinds of things
liberal
that people
policies
should not have in their hands. And you may want to call it liberal, but we talk
who's
about
been running
safety,
the city?
protection
Have conservatives
of our young
been running
people.
the city?
We want to make sure that our country is safer. We want background checks.
Oh yeah, well,
we want
if
to
you
make sure that
want to be safer, don't spend a lot of time late at night on the streets of Baltimore.
You should be 21 years of age, and we want to make sure that
okay, Mayor, we appreciate it.
Is safe. So we look forward to seeing you on
I'll look forward to seeing you at the march. Let me say, I'll go to that march if you come to the March for Life. That's a good deal.
This interview was a great glimpse into.
I don't know what else to say to that. Let me back out of here, folks. Ooh, that was hilarious. You know, sometimes, folks, I bring y'all these videos for just informative sake because I think everybody needs to hear it because you're not going to hear it everywhere. But sometimes I bring y'all videos just to make people smile. Just something to give me a giggle, something that I thought, oh, it's about time a Republican hit him with a sucker punch, hit him with an uppercut, even if it's just conversation sometimes. I like to see the combatants, the back and forth, the calling out the left for their lies, the socialist bullshit. That's one of the reasons I do what I do is to be informative, but at the same time, I want people to be active. I want them to vote. I want them to be concerned about things like an article I read earlier about Arizona only having 100 less poll workers, Republican, than the Democrats when it come down to the precinct poll watchers. And so what that resulted in was several precincts had no Republicans there to keep an eye on what was going on. Some of the smaller precincts. See, that's the kind of story kind of breaks my heart, I think. Where's the activism? These lefties are activists. They're crazy. They got mayors that are pushing the activism all the way across the country. If they think it serves their purpose, they're willing to send people on buses to other places on the taxpayer's dollar in order to protest anything that they want or don't want when it comes to legislation or Supreme Court rulings or whatever. So this woman is acting like a Maxine Waters, using her political activist mentality or ideology to initiate funds to the woke, crazy, leftist, BLM, America hating people that just really don't need to be part of NGOs that somehow parade around in the name of equity or inequality issues that they're fighting or whatever it be. Truth of the matter is, most of these people are racist themselves. They're in it for the money, and they like to stir the pot. You see, she was quick to judge Trump. When you got nothing good to say about what's going on in your town, you can always go, "Hey, look over there in the other town. It's worse." That's distraction, and it ain't working. We know better. But she does remind me of a younger, just as crazy Maxine Waters. Tell me what you think, folks. That's all I got for you tonight. Just tried to bring y'all something a little enlightening, and also a little informative. I'm out of here. Have a great evening. I will bring you a couple of links in the description down below to some spicy stuff. Have a great day.